This is your call coming with another vision. But first, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahawashi, Bahashim, Rakadash. Double honors to the apostles, a great millstone who rule well. Single honors to the elect out pushing this truth upon the four corners. Shalom. I'm going to just get straight into this vision. This was a crazy vision and a lot happened in this vision. This was one of my longer visions. For some reason, my visions are picking up and they're getting longer and longer. And they not, they covering a lot of time spans. Like, I want to say it seemed like it's covering months and maybe even years. Like it's in the visions, time is being sped up. And I'm going to just get straight into it. So I remember waking up that day and getting ready to go about my day, and I walked outside and this person was standing there, and all they said to me was, "I'm your guide," and I didn't think nothing of it, but wherever I went, that person was with me, and it was just like paving the way because it wasn't crazy that day, but it was my guide. So I don't know how to explain it. That's just what he was. So and I started going throughout my day. I was walking around the block. I remember coming to this bar and looking at the news, and I could see the chaos that was going on, and America was at war, and they had troops everywhere across the world, and the troops was doing abominable things. They was doing stuff that they shouldn't have been doing. I can't remember exactly, but I remember like just shaking my head at it, like, and kind of in disbelief, and like I remember just seeing them doing crazy stuff, and they was pretty much terrorizing the world. And I remember leaving the bar, going back to the house, and then that was the end of the day. So I remember waking up the next morning and walking, getting ready and walking outside, and there go my God again. Now this day was a little crazier. I remember it was just being, kind of just a regular day, but kind of crazy for some reason. I remember going back, watching the news again, and like all hell was breaking loose. Watching news, we was at war, it was just crazy. It was Jacob's trouble everywhere else, and I remember like leaving the bar. I remember like looking at the leaving the bar, and it was crazy, in the streets when I left the bar, but it was kind of calm when I went in there. But it was like hyphenated when I went outside from the bar after watching the news. And I remember, making it home safely. My guide was there always, and he was just paving the way for me to make it home. And then the next day I woke up, I think this was the third day. Yeah, the third day I wake up, and it was Jacob's trouble. And I remember walking outside, and my guide was there, and he was just paving the way. But this was like sort of a quick day. I remember walking outside, and like all hell was breaking loose. It was looting and rioting, and man, it was just crazy. And like this was just the third day, but it seemed like so much had happened in this day. It seemed like this third day was a different time set, because like it didn't even look the same. And it's like the Lord was speeding up time, and like I got a verse for that, which is Matthew 24:22. And except these days be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake these days shall be shortened. And I remember even thinking of that verse, like looking at this, because it was just crazy. And I remember going on the way home, I was just walking in the middle of the street, and like people was killing each other. I remember walking and like kind of like not following, but looking at this lady. She was walking in the same directions toward me, and of course she could see me, but she didn't mess with me. Man, when I tell you she was going house to house, just massacring people, just killing everything, just so she could eat. And like you wouldn't expect it, a little lady. She was a short lady, and she was just airing people out. And it's like she didn't run out of bullets. She was just clip after clip, just airing people out, just so she can eat. And like I could see what she was doing. She would go house to house as fast as she could. So like she was at one house, the house that she was going to next wouldn't get the, wouldn't get, wouldn't be able to ambush her. She was just running through these houses and through these people, just slaughtering people. But like she seen me and she didn't do nothing because I guess my guide made a way through. And so I ended up going home that day. I mean, I went home after that and was like dumbfounded, like, whoa. Like I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I remember just going to sleep and waking up. And then this was another day. I remember waking up and going outside, and it was kind of calm, but it's like as soon as I walk outside, I see a bunch of clouds that just covered. It was like supernatural. A bunch of clouds covered everything. And it wasn't to be confused with chariots. It was actual clouds. It was darkened. It was real dark. You ever seen like it's finna rain and how you go outside one minute it's sunny and the next and it's just dark. It was dark like that, like it was finna rain, but it didn't rain. It was just dark. And I remember walking to the bar and I seen that we was being invaded, and I was like dumbfounded that it was happening. Like, whoa, that was fast. Like I just went to sleep and it was just Jacob's Trouble and I'm up and we're being invaded. And then like I remember just walking outside and I was in a different area. I was like to a wall. I was like to a seawall, and I could see troops surrounding, and it was like supernatural. I could see on all the coast troops surrounding America, and I could see them, pointing their lasers and stuff. And like, also remember watching the news. All the troops that was over in the wars, they were slaughtered. We didn't have any more troops. We didn't have any defense. So when I tell you like when I was seeing them surround us, they pretty much just walked onto our beaches and walked onto our docks and like it was nothing. But my guy was there, and like they just, I was on the beach. I was on like this wall, the sea wall, like that was on the beach, and they just walked past me, didn't say nothing to me, So I just ended up going home. It was like, just, like whatever about it. Like I seen it happening, I realized what was happening. So I just went home, went to sleep, and then I woke up the next morning and it was different. I just woke up the next morning. It just didn't seem right. So I went out. I was making my way outside, and my family was here. My family was around me, and I remember getting ready to go outside, and I just so happened to look out the window, and I seen the thrust of a chariot. You ever seen in the second Independence Day when they actually defeated the queen, and then you seen the thrust of the chariot leaving. I seen the thrust of the chariot coming, though. It was coming through the clouds. And I immediately say, Yahweh B'Hashem Yahawashi. So I started running outside, and like everybody beat me outside for some reason because they caught on and they didn't know what time it was. So all my family beat me outside, and as we went outside, Yahweh the Father, he showed himself to the world, and he was in a big throne, and he was huge. He was 10 times bigger than the world, and like I was the last one outside. So like if you looked up, you would have seen him, and like I seen him the split second tail end of it, and I remember thinking, whoa, that was the Father. That was Yahweh, and everybody was just looking at me, listening to me, and I remember just looking around. I could see the soldiers, like, for some reason they couldn't see through the clouds. I seen the soldier, he was measuring, taking measurements to where they wanted to drop these missiles at. And like, I knew what was going on. I was like, you know what, we got to make it to the middle of that chariot and, hopefully get beamed up. And I remember running past the soldier, he just looking at me crazy. And as I was running, I had caught a vision. And I could see everything that was going around me. I could see people being beamed up, and it was like crazy how it was happening. It was like supernatural. And it was like happening all over the United States, and I could see the supper that it was like everything was moving so fast. I could see Yahawashi having a supper, and the table was almost filled, and I could see the two men on his outside. He was in the middle of the table, like, you know, you ever see those Last Supper pictures, and I could see the two men next to him was huge, but the other man was like kind of, you know, short. And I seen this in a vision as I'm running, and then I made it to the middle of the chariot, and I called his name, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahawashi, and he beamed me and my family up. And then he was talking to me, telling me, you know, that he's telling me about my faith, and like, you know, he was telling me that, you know, you believe. I mean, your wife made it because you believe, and your family made it because you believed. And he was like, your sister, she was saying something about my sister, and I didn't understand. And then we was just talking. We was just, I mean, Yahweh Shai was just talking. Like, it was crazy because we just having brotherly conversation. And then, like, I went to opening up and, like, you know, talking to him like a brother. And, like, I didn't, you know, at that time, I didn't feel like he was just Yahweh Shai. I felt like he was a brother. And I was telling him everything that was going on, how I was struggling in the spirit. And it was like some days the spirit was strong on me. And like some weeks the spirit would be strong on me, and some weeks it wasn't, that I couldn't, you know, get a lesson out, like that I was struggling. I didn't know what I was supposed to do, because when I came in the truth, Yahweh Shai pulled me out of a vision and, you know, told me to put on my holy garments. You know, this happened in the vision. He made himself known to me in the vision. So I was telling him, like, you told me to put on my holy garments, but I couldn't figure out if I was a help or if I was a prophet. And I'm like crying out to him, like I didn't understand. So I'm sorry if I didn't do everything I was supposed to. He was just like smirking, looking at me, like just looking at me like he should have seen his face, like, you know, like you talking to a brother, and he just looking at me like, he stopped talking and he grabbed my shoulder. He put his hand on my shoulder and he looked me in my eye and he said, "Do the work." And like, I'm just looking at him, and he take his right hand, because he had his left hand on my shoulder, and he grabs a knob and he started turning the knob. And as he turned the knob, you can see everything happening and in reverse. And I could see everything happening in reverse, and it was supernatural. Like he took hold of time and started reversing it until the time that I went to sleep that night. And then I woke up, and then like I woke up with my spirit on fire, like all these scriptures in my head, and so much that I was thinking about, and it was so much that I was thinking about would do the work. And like he was putting on my spirit to brothers that, you know, that fell short. And I know it was this brother in camp that it really stuck with me, that do the work. It wasn't just to me. It was this vision was for a couple of more brothers, and one of them particularly was one of the brothers that was in the camp. I can't remember his name, but I remember if one of the brothers see this, he's gonna tell you exactly who he was, because it's. And I asked, you know, when I first met the brother, I was like, you know, what's such and such name? You know, the little short brother with the beautiful beard, because he had a beautiful beard. And one of the brothers say, "Oh, you mean the brother that looked like an angel?" And then he said his name, and I'm like, yeah. I just remembered that for some reason. And I remember I heard that he fell out the camp recently, and I know this vision was to not only for me, but to that brother and a couple of more brothers. And I was seeing brothers that was falling out, like they was giving up, saying that they was falling short. And, you know, talking to him, I was telling him that I was falling short sometimes, and this, that, and third. And he was just telling me, you know, just do the work. That's pretty much what the message was, do the work. But Lord willing, this was edifying. Till the next time, I say shalom.